Hi, everyone. You're welcome to another session on the Fred Effect YouTube channel. My name is Fred. I make videos on studying abroad and scholarship opportunities. I've had opportunity to go through this journey. So what I do is to share ideas and information on how you can also do it. Today, I have three guests. Um, one is studying in the US, another is studying in Germany, and then I have another person who also had opportunity to study in the UK. Now, what we are trying to do as somebody who wants to study in the US, what is the best study destination in terms of scholarships, accommodation? Can you work when you are schooling? After school, would you be able to get a permanent stay? Would you be able to work in this specific country? So these are individuals who are like you who also want to study abroad. We are all from Africa, and we are going to share ideas and information on how you can do it. If you're just tuning in, just tell somebody that the Fed effect is on. It's time. Let's have our pens and papers ready to put down a lot of ideas and information that will help you in your journey. We are live on Facebook on the Fred Effect Facebook page. If you are just joining us, please follow and then share as well. Let me know which country you're watching us from. And also, we are live on X or Twitter, the same name, the Fred Effect. We're also live on YouTube, the Fred Effect YouTube channel. And remember, this recording will be available for you to also watch later on. When we are done. We are live on Instagram as well, the Fred Effect Instagram page. And we're also live on TikTok. If you're watching us on TikTok, welcome. And then you can also share whatever questions you have. Do you want to study in Germany? Do you want to study in the UK? Would you want to study in the US? All my guests had scholarships to study in these universities. So they are going to share ideas and information about various things that you may be concerned about. Can you travel with your spouse? How is it to get even accommodation there? How is it to go about application, the scholarship, and all that? They will spill all the information here. So welcome on board, and I'm glad that you are joining us. Tell somebody to subscribe, and then tune into the Fred Effect YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, X, and then Instagram handles. So let me bring my guest on, and then we get going. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Right.
Hi.
Hello.
So let's start with introductions, right? We will start with Miss Hetty, and let's start with Z rather. We'll start with Z. So can you please introduce yourself to my viewers? Somebody seeing your beautiful face for the first time, please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Fred. I'm Z. My real name is Zarina. I studied my master's in the UK at the London School of Economics and Political Science. So I studied a Master of Science in Media Communication and Development. So that was after studying my undergrad in Ghana. So I did my bachelor's degree in Ghana in communication studies, and I did my master's degree in the UK in London. I came to study on a scholarship. So thankfully I had a full scholarship to study. I don't know, for those of you who've heard about the Achievement Scholarship, I had a fully funded scholarship to study my master's degree. So anyone who has questions pertaining to studying in the UK or pertaining to the Achievement Scholarship as well, I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Great. So that was Z, and Z has a YouTube channel and called the Z Study Hub. Now, on the Z Study Hub, Z, if you can tell us what you do.
Yeah, so on Z Study Hub, I share a lot of information on studying abroad and education in general. So, studying abroad, education, and self improvement. So, lots of content about how to apply for scholarships, how to go for scholarship interviews, how to prepare for scholarship interviews, how to write your scholarship essays, how to write your personal statements and stuff like that. And also just key information on how you can study if you want to get, for instance, a first class. My tips on the things that helped me that you can also do for yourself. I also share a lot of self-improvement information, like moving in silence, how maybe when you're doing things, you probably should focus on them and not talk about it too much. That's on the self-improvement side. And also just being positive and tips to help you become the best version of yourself. So in summary, the content on my YouTube channel is on education and self-improvement. So if you're looking for content similar to what Fred shares here, I share similar content. And I also do share general education tips and also just helping you become the best version of yourself. So you can find my channel Z Study Hub on YouTube and Z Study Hub on Instagram and Z Study Hub on TikTok.
All right, so we'll share all the social media platforms that you can get in touch with Z, especially if you want content on how you can study abroad and especially in the UK. So my next guest is called Miss Hetty. So Miss Hetty, if you can tell us if you can simply introduce yourself and then you also talk about your channel as well and how people can get in touch.
Hi everybody. So my name is Hetty. I'm currently pursuing a graduate program in communications in the US, specifically at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. I had my bachelor's degree in Ghana in public relations, and so coming here to pursue a graduate program in communications because like that's the field in which I want to be. And for my YouTube channel, I basically do education, lifestyle, and travel. And I currently have just one video on my channel, but I'm putting together like a few experiences on my study abroad process and then a few other things, being an international student in the US out there. So anybody who has like any study abroad questions about the US, you can just subscribe to my channel and then also like feel free to ask questions. So yeah.
All right, so you can check out the Z Study Hub YouTube channel, and you can also check out Miss Hetty, YouTube channel and subscribe as well. So let's talk to my next guest, Eugene. Eugene, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Fred, for having me here. My name is Eugene. I'm currently a data scientist in Germany, and I also have a YouTube channel where I talk about scholarships. Yeah, so I won the DAT scholarship, that EPA scholarship back in 2020, and that was what brought me to Germany. And yeah, so far so good. We bless God for the progress so far. And I just want to say, if you have questions about Germany, you can reach out on the comment section and also let us know. We'll do our best to help you and guide you. Basically, what my major goal is to help people achieve their dreams of studying abroad, and that is what we are here to do, and I hope you benefit from it. Thank you very much, Fred.
Great. So that is Eugene Brown's YouTube channel. So if you want all the information about studying abroad, especially in Germany, he has been gone through the process. He's originally from Nigeria, and then he has been able to win massive scholarship to study in Germany, and he's currently working in Germany as well. So you have to subscribe to Eugene Brown's YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search Eugene Brown and subscribe to the channel as well. Let's get started. So one major question anybody who wants to study abroad would want to know is, what documents do I need to study abroad? So Eugene, let's start with you. What documents do someone need to study either a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in Germany?
Okay, yeah. So it is quite funny when I see people who want to study abroad and they do not even have a passport. So I think the very first step is getting your international passport. So that is the very first step. And after that, you will need your degree certificate, your bachelor certificate, or your master certificate, depending on the degree you're interested in. And you will also need your transcript of record. And also, you will need your CV. So depending on the country you're interested in, you want to find out what is the right template to use for your CV. And then the most important document that I think it's your letter of motivation, and you will need to craft out a very good letter of motivation. And then any other supplementary documents, depending on the country, you might need proof of English proficiency and maybe letter of recommendation. But these are supplementary documents. The major documents are what I've mentioned earlier.
Right. So let's go to Miss Hetty. If somebody wants to study in the US, what documents do the individual need?
I think also just similar to what Eugene mentioned, the most important thing is your passport, which like most people tend to forget, and then your school, like your transcripts, irrespective of the fact that you're going to do like a bachelor's or like a PhD or a graduate program, your transcripts as well, and then your English proficiency letter, and then recommendation letters also, and statements of purpose, and then also writing sample depending on like the program or the course you are applying to, and then like those are like the major documents that you need to put in like your school, and then also your certificates as well. So if it's a graduate program, you need your bachelor's degree certificate, and then if it's also like an undergrad, if you have like your WASI sets as well, you can also use that when you're applying for school. Yeah.
All right, so let's go to Z. If somebody wants to study in the UK, Z, what document do they? I know you've spoken a lot about it on your YouTube channel, and people will have to check it out. So, in summary, what document do someone who wants to study in the UK need?
Well, pretty much a similar documents that have been mentioned. I would also just start by saying a lot of the documents, apart from the very general documents, mostly it depends on the course you're applying for and what they're asking you for. But generally, you would also need reference letters. If I haven't heard that yet. So reference letters are also really important, and it depends on how many reference letters they would ask you. You may need reference letters from your lecturers, your previous lecturers, or it depends on the number of years you've been working. They might also accept a reference letter from your employer. Definitely a statement of purpose. Almost all the time you need a statement of purpose, your academic transcripts, your certificates as well. So if you're going for a master's degree, you would need to show your undergrad certificate. Also, depending on what you're applying for, you may need a research proposal. You may need to come with a proposal, but that also really depends on the course you're applying for. So these are generally for the application to the university. They may require other documents during the visa process, but that's quite different. But if you're applying to the university, the major documents would be your statement of purpose, maybe a writing sample or a proposal, depending on what you're applying for. You may also need to show your certificate. You need your transcripts. You definitely need a passport. I agree with that as well. And then reference letters. So I think the reference letters are really important. So if you haven't spoken to or been in touch with your lecturers, you should probably start engaging with them so that when you go asking them for references, it wouldn't be that tough.
Great. So thank you. You're still watching us on the Fred Effect YouTube channel. We just get started. You've not missed much if you just joined us. So we are live on X, we are live on Facebook. As time goes on, we will allow you to join us. Let us know your comments or your questions in the chat. So what is the time at your end, and where are you watching us from? So I am in the US. Eugene, can you tell us which city you are? What's the time there?
Okay, I'm currently in Bremen. Bremen is northern Germany. It's currently 8:22 p.m. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2:22 p.m. at my end here in Indiana, USA. And then Z, which city are you, and what's the time?
I'm in London, and it's 7:22 p.m.
Okay, so Eugene is 1 hour ahead of you.
Yeah.
Miss Happy.
I'm in Illinois, and it's 1:22 p.m. Yeah.
So we are on different time zones. Let us know where you're watching us from, and what's the time at your end, and also your questions in the chat. So we just spoke about the documents you need. Now let's move on to how long is it going to take? So if somebody is watching us, wants to study in the US, wants to study in Germany, wants to study in the UK. So let's start with Z. How long did your process take, and how long is it going to take if somebody wants to study in the UK?
So if somebody wants to study in the UK, it depends, but mostly people start in September. So the academic year starts in September. So you would have to make sure that you apply and get admission before then. A lot of the UK universities open admissions around August, September, the year prior to that. So if you apply, and then they also have deadlines. So some universities may have deadlines, may have December deadlines, some have January deadlines, and some could even have as early as November. So if it opens that the year before. So for instance, if you want to study in 2025, right? So this 2024, applications, or a lot of the applications would open around August. And so you can start applying, and then when you apply then, and then you would hear back from them maybe around January or February, and then you can get ready and start around September. So that's it. That's like the major timelines for a lot of UK universities. So for the September intake, this is the time that you would have to, I would recommend that people start around this time, looking for the universities they want to study in, looking for the courses that they want to study, and also monitoring the course, the website of the universities they want to study, to see when it would open. And when they open admissions around the time, then you can apply, and then now wait till you hear from them. So this is basically the timeline for a lot of UK universities. Yeah.
How long did your process take? Did it take you a year, 6 months? How long did yours take?
So my university application process took me about 6 months. So I applied in November for a lot of my university, to a lot of my universities. So November, December was when I applied. I got feedback from them around February. It's been up 4 years now, so I don't clearly recall, but early the year after that. And that was how long it took. However, because I was applying for a scholarship, my scholarship application, the whole process took about a year. So it depends on your funding. What are you working on towards funding? So if you're just applying and you have your own money to pay, then the timeline is very short. You just apply from when it opens around August, September, and maybe around December, January, February, you receive a response from them. But because I was applying for a scholarship, my scholarship opened around August and then closed around November, and I got feedback from the scholarship around July the next year. So in all, I would say give yourself at least 8 months for everything, but monitor timelines, because although a lot of the applications opened around the same time, but different universities open their applications at different points in time. So my application process took me about 5 months, from the time I applied to the time I got feedback from them. But when it comes to everything, including my scholarship application, I'd say the whole thing took about a year.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's ask Miss Hetty. So if someone wants to study in the US, how long does it take? And specifically, how long did your process take?
I think similar to what Z said, mine took about 5 months, and the reason being that you need to like chase professors for recommendation letters. So if you are going to wait till last minute when it's like almost your deadline to turn in your application, I'm sorry, you might not be able to do that. So it took me about 5 months. First of all, like deciding on the schools to apply to the course, and then getting professors to know that, oh, I'm trying to do this process, so I'll need their recommendation letter to turn in my application and stuff like that. So I think I also submitted my application November, I remember December 1st, yes, because I think that was the deadline. So I turned in my application December 1st, and I heard from the school in February. But unlike Z's, my admission came with the full funding. So I didn't really have to wait and go through another process to apply for scholarship or anything. So from December, January, and then second week in February, precisely like on the 12th of February, that's when my school got back to me with my admission and then like my full funding. But ideally, I feel like if you want to go for the fall intake, you should start your applications, like start looking for school for somewhere in like January, because most schools open applications around that period. So looking for the program you want to study, speaking to professors or employers who are going to be giving you recommendation letters like throughout that process, so that they are in the known that this is what you're trying to do. So when it's time for them to turn in their recommendation letters, they'll be able to do that like freely. So from January all the way through, and then make sure you give yourself time. And one key thing, like if you are going to turn in your application somewhere in March or April, it's always best to give like your recommenders a month to your deadline, just because you want them to turn it in time. Because sometimes we can't blame them, because they have like a lot of work on their on their desk, so it will be very difficult for them to sometimes keep these things at the top of their head. So it's best to give them like a month or like 3 weeks earlier or prior to your deadline, just so they'll be able to fix that in their calendar and turn in their recommendation letters on time. So ideally, just like that of Z, like about 5 to 6 months should be like the duration to put in your school application if you want to go in the fall. However, if you want to do it in spring, you should also like start looking for schools also maybe around this time, and then when schools open their admission portal or like application portal somewhere like during the fall period, you'll be able to have all your documents ready and then turn it in at that time as well. So yeah.
So that was Miss Hetty telling us how long the process take for the applying to the US. Let's talk to Eugene. Eugene is in Germany. So talk to us about Eugene.
Okay, yeah. So in Germany, you can get admission as quick as within 2 weeks if you're applying to private universities. But for public universities, it can take from 3 to 5 months. So for mine, I think it took I applied around October, and I got the admission and scholarship around January the next year. So that was about 3 months. Yeah. So it depends on like in Germany, you have like 2 major semesters. You have winter and summer semester. So that makes the application window open almost throughout the year. So there's an application window from August up till December, and then also from January up to like April. So it means that like the application window is always open for different schools. So different universities have their different deadlines. You just have to browse through the universities, get the deadline, and then apply for your admission. Yeah.
All right, so you're still here with us live on the Fred Effects YouTube channel. Today we are comparing the processes in terms of studying in the US, studying in Germany, and also studying in the UK, so that you can make a good decision for yourself if you want to study in any of these 2 countries. So coming up, we are going to talk about accommodation. We are going to talk about work after school, work during school. We'll talk about the monies involved in terms of if you want to study in any of these countries. So let's talk about how much was spent on your process. So I'll start this with Miss Hetty. How much did you put into application fees? How much was did you spend in terms of on visa? If you want to and you can add a flight ticket and all that. Did your scholarship cover your flight ticket? Did you have to pay for that? So out of pocket, how much did you spend on the process, Miss Hetty?
Fred, this would be like hard to put everything together, but I think luckily for me, I did like just 1 school application, so that was my luck. I didn't really like get to spend so much money on like school applications and stuff like that, but I think my application fee was about $65. Yes, and then I had to pay for MRV fee, which is like for the visa process, and that was about $160. All the way through to pay for service.
MRV fee, what is it?
MRV fee is basically like a fee you pay to start your whole visa interview process.
So like visa application fee.
Visa application fee. So I had to pay that. It was $160. And then I had to pay service fee, which was $350. So service fee is if you're an F1 visa applicant, you need to pay service fee, which is part of your interview process. So that was also like $350. And my ticket was almost $2,000 because of the time frame which I was traveling. So it's like that season is like a peak season. So at that point, getting flight tickets was like hectic, but it cost me about almost $2,000 to pay for my flight tickets to the US. If I'm summing up everything, it was quite a lot. And I feel like that's like something that people should have at the back of their mind if they really want to embark on this journey. Like it's time consuming, it involves a lot of money. So you need to like psych yourself mentally, physically, financially if you are ready to like embark on this journey as well. So this was basically like the amount of money and the things that I spent money on, which is like something you cannot escape.
Okay, so just a quick follow-up. Did your scholarship pay for any of these costs?
No, please. My scholarship didn't pay for my flights. It didn't pay for my service fee. Neither did it pay for my interview process. No.
Okay, so the flight ticket, service fee, visa application fee, application fee for the school, are roughly $3,000.
roughly $3,000. Yes.
All right. So you said you're on a full scholarship. How come your scholarship did not pay for any of these?
So I think some schools, fortunately, some people, their school actually covers for these things. But for my school, my scholarship just came with like a monthly stipend, and then it covers like my fees as well. But it's not like 100% scholarship, like a full scholarship that covers these kind of things. So I paid for my interview application. I paid for my service fee, my flight tickets, and then I also pay like health insurance as well. So my scholarship doesn't cover like these things. These are the things like I had to pay for out of pocket.
Okay, so
Yeah.
to put people on a safer net, if assuming that you did not get an admission to the school you paid $65 to apply to, were they going to refund your money? If you didn't get a visa, were they going to refund the visa application fee, the service fee? Are they refundable?
No, they weren't going to refund that money to me because it wasn't this like the school has given you admission, but they are not responsible for paying my service because that was not like something that was indicated in like on the school's website or something. And like my conversations with the graduate chair of my department, I never had like that information from her. So there was no way I was going to get like a refund for all of these things because it was out of pocket.
Okay.
So yeah.
We're going deep into your scholarship because people are interested. You had a full scholarship. How are they going to also get it? So do you think that after getting on campus, based on approximately $3,000 spent on visa application fee to the school service fee, and flight ticket, is this $3,000 worth it? Have you been able to recoup your money?
Yes, it is. It is worth it. It is worth it because at the end of the day, because I'm on a full scholarship and my fees, like my tuition fees and everything is being catered for, I still like work and get like a stipend. So at least with that, depending on how it's like an individual thing, depending on how like you manage yourself on certain things, especially like finances, you will be able to like make your money back at least to some point. It might not be immediate, but I feel like with a gradual, like through a gradual process, you'll be able to like put everything together again. So it was like 100% worth it. I'm not going to like lie about that. Yeah.
So let's talk to Eugene now. So Eugene, if you could sum it up for us, how much did you spend on your process until you got to Germany?
Okay, I can't remember. I'll be sincere with you, but I didn't spend a lot of money. First of all, I didn't have to pay any form of application fee to my university for admission, so there was no application fee, and my scholarship basically covered for my flight ticket as well. I think I paid for the visa interview, and yeah, in Naira that was like 30,000 Naira. Yeah, but yeah. So I would also like to talk about those who don't get a scholarship. So some universities would ask you to pay for application fee, especially if you're applying through the Uni Assist, and that is like $75, 75 euro. Yeah. So application fee can be 75 euro, but most of the universities in Germany do not have application fee, especially if you're applying to the university directly. And that is the case for most master's programs. But for undergraduate programs, most of the time you have to apply through Uni Assist, and then you have to incur the cost of 75 euro for the application fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only cost was for the visa application fee. Your plane ticket was taken care of by your scholarship, and then the university did not require any application fee, and so you did not pay anything for that.
Exactly.
So if you study in Germany and go through the route that Eugene used, you only have to prepare for the visa application fee. Okay, has it been increased since you because you did your process some time ago? Has it been increased? So anybody who want to do it now
in terms of the application fee or for the visa?
The visa application fee.
Oh, I don't know. I think that will be relative to your country, so you can just browse through to know what the amount for visa processing in your country.
Eugene, kindly repeat the name of your program, the university you studied in, and then
so it's the DAD EPUS scholarship. If you go on my YouTube channel, I have tons of videos about the DAD EPUS scholarship. So it's a fully funded scholarship, and you just have to apply to the programs that are eligible, and you are good to go. In some cases, some of the programs might want you to apply through UniAssist, and in that case, you will have to pay the €75 application fee. Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, Eugene has actually made a lot of videos on his YouTube channel, which I'm currently showing, that you can know how he did it so that you can also study in Germany for free. So the only thing you need is the visa application fee. I think it's super cool. Now let's go to Z and also check out how is it done to the UK too? How much did you spend on your process, Z? Z, you're muted, so you have to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. So for my process, I didn't spend a lot of money. I applied to 3 universities, and I only paid application fees for one. And a lot of the UK universities, if you're applying for a master's program, you can apply for free. So
Just for the process of learning, sorry about that. What are the names of these universities you applied to in the UK?
So I applied to the London School of Economics, where I studied, and at the time I paid £75 for my application fee, and then I applied to the University of Sussex, and I did not pay anything for application, and I applied to the University of Leeds, which was also free, and so a lot of universities in the UK also have very free application masters that you can apply without paying application fees. I have a video on my channel where I've shared a lot of the names of the universities. So I only paid my university application fee, and the only other fee I remember paying was my TB test when I was applying for my visa. So my scholarship took care of everything. From tuition to flight ticket to visa application fees to everything. And the only thing that I paid for was for the TB test. I don't remember how much I paid exactly, but it was, I don't know if it was even up to $100, but I paid that. And when I came to the UK, my scholarship reimbursed the money. So basically, if I'm going to talk about the expense that I made, I think it was just the £75 application fees I paid. And so it means that just a £75 application fee I paid. So it means that a lot of people on my scholarship who applied to universities where they did not need application fees basically did not pay anything. So I was very lucky because they took care of my flight ticket, my visa, and everything. So I really didn't spend any.
Okay, so was this money sent to you back in your home country to work on the process, or you had to pay in advance, get to the UK, and then they will reimburse it?
So with the visa application fee, when you're applying to the visa, you apply through the UK government's website. And if you select the scholarship there's that option for you to select, are you on any of these scholarships? So if I selected Chevening Scholarship, I will go through without having to pay. So they just make you go through. They may ask you for a few questions. So I didn't even get to the point where they asked me to pay anything during the visa application. But with the TB test, I had to do it at IOM. And so I had to go there and pay. So I used my own money to pay. And then when I got to the UK, when they were sending me my first stipend in the first month, they added it to the stipend, and then they just paid for it. So that was it. I didn't pay anything. When I was coming back from the UK, also they paid for my flight ticket. And even during COVID, when I took a COVID test, COVID was unexpected, but when I took a COVID test, and for all of us, when we took the COVID test, and then you send them the receipts of what you paid to take the COVID test to be able to travel back, they give monies back to us. So I think this was a very generous package.
So if you're listening to us now, it looks as if in terms of the process, the US is the most expensive one. So Ms. Hetty is talking about paying for application fee, service fee, visa application fee, and then paying for flight ticket. The scholarship did not cover that. You have to understand that not every scholarship in the US works this way, but that is how her process works. And then that's what she's sharing with you. Now, among the countries, so Z's own is the easiest or the cheapest. I wouldn't use easiest, but she did not basically pay anything. Whatever she paid when she went to the UK, it was reimbursed. And Eugene had to pay for only the visa application fee. So we are moving on to talk about their scholarship. So all the three people I'm speaking to right now had a full scholarship to study in the UK, in the US, and then in Germany. So we'll start with Eugene this time around. Eugene, talk to us about your scholarship. And you speak a lot about how you did it and everything on your YouTube channel. So you have to subscribe to the Eugene Brown YouTube channel. The link will be shared in the YouTube video description and in the Facebook description. But Eugene, a little bit about your scholarship. What type of scholarship is it?
First of all, it's a master's scholarship. So for those who are looking for bachelor's, sorry about that. It's a master's scholarship, and it's basically geared towards there are different categories of courses. So you basically have to look at the DAAD EPUS. So you can basically Google DAAD EPUS, and you definitely come across the scholarship, or you can check it out on my channel. There's a catalog which contains the courses that are eligible. So not every course is eligible. So you have to go through the courses. There are engineering courses, there are medical courses, global heads. So these courses are what you can apply to for the scholarship. So how it works is that you have to apply to the universities. You just have to do just one application. You don't have to apply to DAAD, which is the body funding the scholarship. That is the German government. You just have to apply to the universities. So basically, you get all the documents like I've mentioned. Those are the same documents you need, and the very important one, the letter of motivation. You take those documents, you send it to the university for the program that you are interested in. So if you are selected, you will get the response that you have been selected or shortlisted for the DAAD EPUS scholarship, and thereafter you would have to do an interview. So after the interview, most people that get to the interview stage normally get the scholarship, and you're good to go. So it's just one-way process. You just have to apply for admission, and that is it. So the scholarship documents include a DAAD EPUS form. So that is the form that you need to fill as the scholarship application. Every other document is just like you're applying for admission, and you are good to go.
Great. And Eugene shares a lot of this information on his YouTube channel. I've been sharing on the screen. So it's called Eugene Brown. Go to YouTube and all social media platforms. So TikTok is Eugene Brown, Instagram Eugene Brown, and then YouTube, Facebook as well. So let's talk about your scholarship, Miss Hetty, and then we come to Z. So how
sorry. I didn't mention the benefits of the scholarship. Let me try to remember some of the benefits.
Okay.
Because we're talking about these won't be the best, but I think the DAAD EPUS scholarship is one of the most prestigious scholarship in the world, because it is a scholarship which covers basically everything. If you are admitted into most of the universities in Germany, back in the days, they don't pay tuition fee, but right now, some of them have introduced some kind of tuition fee. But regardless, if you get a DAAD EPUS scholarship, you're not going to pay any tuition fee, and you also get a monthly stipend. I think right now it's about 930 euro, if I'm not mistaken. And also your flight ticket is covered. You're going to get 2-time flight ticket for coming and going. But you don't have to go back anyway, but you get a flight ticket. And then you also get a settling allowance of about 400 euro as at that time. It increases every year. And you get this like every year, like I think twice within the scholarship period. So I think that can cover for the visa application amount, right? So there's still other, you also get some scholarships for research. There's a lot of money coming in, and you can also come with your family if you get the DAAD scholarship. It's and your wife also gets paid monthly from the scholarship. Then you can also get rent allowance if you are with a family and you have to get a flat. Then the scholarship is going to subsidize your rent, and it's quite interesting. And and they also have a very great and robust alumni network, which keep you in track. So I think it's a great one. If you get a scholarship, I would say it makes your future much better.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, Eugene. So if you are watching us now, we are still live on the Fred Effect YouTube channel. My name is Fred. And on this platform, what I share is ideas and information on how you can study abroad. The Fred Effect platform happens to be the biggest study abroad content creation platform. We are close to have 1 million across our platforms. So if you are not part of the family, you're losing out. Please subscribe to the Fred Effect YouTube channel. Kindly follow the YouTube page. We are also on TikTok. We have 130,000 on TikTok now. Follow us on TikTok. We share ideas and information there. X or Twitter. You can also follow us there, and on Instagram as the Fred Effect. So let's talk about your scholarship, Miss Hetty. So what does your scholarship entail actually?
I'm hearing that of Eugene is just making me feel like some people are really enjoying. So with my scholarship, it's a graduate assistantship. So it covers my like my tuition fees, and then in return for that, like I do an assistantship, which is I teach. So I get like a monthly stipend. However, there are just a few things that I pay for, like my health insurance, and then there's also something called the university fees that I also pay like every semester. So pretty much for my scholarship, that's what like it covers. But like at least it covers the majority of the things, which is like my tuition, and then I in turn get like a stipend for the work I do, which is like my assistantship. Yeah.
So quick one. Is the entire money put into your bank account so that whenever you need it, you can have access to it? So if you want to pay school fees, you go and take the money to pay the school fees. And how is it, the scholarship then?
No, so the school at the end of every like at the beginning of every semester, you see how much you're supposed to be paying for like tuition fees in your bursary account. But in the like I think in the second week of the semester, the school like takes that money out of your accounts because you are on like an assistantship. So the department pays that part for you. So all that is left is just for you to sort out like your university fees, which is for every student here. But I think some schools they have that as part of their scholarship. But for mine, the school goes ahead to like take the money out of it. So I don't have access to the money. The money is not put in my account where like when it's time, I just go issue a payment or something. No, the school takes care of it without even me like knowing that this is something that is there. Yeah.
So Miss Hetty intends to share her journey on how she only applied for one university, got a full scholarship, and how you can also do it. Miss Hetty, what are you studying at the moment?
I'm studying a graduate program in communication studies.
Great. So it's such an inspiration. She got a scholarship that covers her tuition and also pay stipends as well. And so subscribe to the Miss Hetty YouTube channel and then follow her journey. She will guide you on how you can also achieve same. So let's talk to Z. Z. So in terms of your scholarship, you've already given us an idea. Do you have to work to in return for how much they're paying you? How is it like?
So I was on the Chevening Scholarship. The Chevening Scholarship is a prestigious scholarship by the UK government. So it's given by the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office of the United Kingdom. So it's a fully funded scholarship. So in my case, I didn't have to work. So I got my full tuition fees taken care of. So they paid my tuition. They gave me monthly stipends. They took care of my flight tickets and everything, like I mentioned before. I don't know what to say except that I didn't have to pay for anything basically. So I think the benefits of the scholarship as well is also the community. I think one of the things about the Achievement Scholarship is the community that you get to be part of. During the
Okay, I think we are losing Z over there, but Eugene and Miss Hetty could hear me, right? All right. So Z would first her connection, and then she's going to join us later. If you're watching us right now, welcome. My name is Frederick, and this is the Fred Effect YouTube channel. I have Miss Hetty here, who is studied on a full scholarship in the US. Eugene is also in Germany. He studied on a full scholarship, and we are trying to compare, how the whole process works in terms of if you want to study in the UK, in the US, or in Germany. how should you go about it? Thank you for sending your questions in. Let's look at some of them and be responding to them. So James is asking, Miss Hetty, are you studying your master's? Yeah, she said she's studying master's. And then Blessed is saying, you guys are really trying. Kudos. Thank you for tuning in, Blessed. And then this one goes for Eugene. Is there essays in that scholarship, or it's only statement of purpose and other documents?
Yeah, there is just your letter of motivation and other documents. So there's no specific essay to add to your application. Yeah.
All right. So Kamara is watching us in Gambia. Which part of Gambia, Kamara? And then somebody's asking Miss Hetty, how did you get your graduate assistantship scholarship?
So with my assistantship, it came with my admission. So I just had to submit my documents, like my transcripts, all my certificates, and then I wrote a statement of purpose, and then I also added writing samples. It was optional, but then looking at the program I was going to do, I felt like it would be required of a communication student with a PR background to at least provide some writing experience. So I turned in, like, I think 2 writing samples, and then also my reference letters, which I got 2 academic reference letters and then 1 from an employer, and I submitted that. So it came automatically with my admission.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Wine is asking, Wine, which country are you watching us from? Please, Eugene, can a senior high school graduate get admission and full scholarship for undergraduate in Germany, or what are the process involved? So is it possible?
I think it's possible, but undergraduate scholarships are quite rare. I'll be sincere with you. They are mostly for masters and then PhDs, but for undergraduate, it is quite rare. I practically haven't come across any undergraduate, but I wouldn't say it's not possible. Everything is possible. So you can, I would say you browse through university pages and maybe send a question, send your inquiries to the international contacts and ask if they have or any kind of undergraduate scholarships.
Okay, so Max is also asking, Mr. Eugene, do they require language tests for the school admission and scholarship?
Most universities currently they require language tests, but if your first degree was in English, it stands as a means for you to prove your English proficiency. Some universities will accept. It is quite diverse in Germany. Some universities would accept that if your first degree was in English and you have a statement from the university stating that your first degree was in English, that can be a pass. But some universities would insist that you take standardized tests like IELTS or TOEFL. But in my case, I used a letter from my university stating that my first degree was in English, and that was sufficient for my university, University of Bremen.
Okay, great. So Maestro is saying great insight. Thank you for tuning in, Maestro. Please try and share so that other people can join in. So Z, somebody knows you here. Adams, Madia is saying, oh, is it a Z I know? If yes, Kaula.
Yes, it's me. Hi, Mardia Kadbeula. I think, yeah.
All right. So Edwin is asking which school in Germany. I think this goes for Eugene. I think he has already mentioned the name. And then Wise is saying good work, Fred, and the entire team. God bless you. God bless you too. So we are moving on to the next. You can also send in your questions. We will be happy to respond to them. So let's move on to the next batch of questions that we have to compare. So let's talk about the stipend and then allowance. Let's start with Z. So were you paid monthly, weekly, bi-weekly? How was the payment?
Thank you. First of all, apologies. I had
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah. So I was paid monthly. Every month they would. I think it was before the end of the month. So towards the end of the month, they would send me my stipend, and if I don't, if I'm not mistaken, it was around £1,300. My memory, it's been 4 years. I don't remember the exact amount. But then, so the stipend was for my expenses basically. So accommodation, transportation, and feed and every other thing that I had to take care of by myself. So if I wanted to travel or do other things, it was the same amount. So at the end of every month, they would send you the amount. So it was such a good arrangement. And in my case, what was also really good about it was that when I was trying to get a certain kind of accommodation, I needed to pay a higher amount than they would give me in the monthly stipend. So you could also have a chat with your program, with your, I think we call them project officers or program officers. Every scholar has that person from the scholarship team who is taking care of you more of. So you can send them an email and let them know that you want some amount of money in advance to be able to use to make up some kind of expense. So maybe your accommodation. So in my case, they gave me some kind of advance payment, which they would deduct from my monthly stipend. If it's like an arrangement of sorts, so they gave me a higher amounts, and then they helped me to pay for the accommodation, whatever I wanted to do, and then they sort of spread it across the rest of the month, which was a very good and flexible arrangement, and it was also really thoughtful. So that was how it comes in the amounts. The other thing that I just want to add quickly is that it depends on where in the UK you are. So the standard of living in London is higher than someone who probably is in another part of England or Wales, or just another part of the UK. So it depends. So maybe people in London definitely would get higher amounts than people living outside London. It's not too significant, but it's just bearing in mind that, okay, London is more expensive than some other parts of the UK. So yeah.
All right, thank you, Z. So let's talk to Miss Hetty. How are you surviving in terms of allowance and stipends? Are you paid monthly, weekly, or bi-weekly? How is it in the US?
So we also pay like towards the end of the month. So it's dependent on the bank also, like that you have an account with, and that's like when you'll be able to get your money. Because some people get it, I think, before the month ends, others to get it like on the last day of the month, some to get it like the first day of the next month. So it's basically towards the end of the month, and that's like the means of like survival with the stipend. It's okay if you like I mentioned earlier, it depends on like how best you're able to do like your budgeting, and then like take out like certain basic needs out of it. You would be able to survive. And I think one other thing that's the trick for international students is also like the whole credit card. So even if like your stipend is not like sufficient for you, at least you have like a credit card available to cater for also like certain basic needs that you feel like you don't want to use your stipend for. So yeah.
So approximately before tax, like how much are we looking at in a month?
In a month, did you say before tax?
However you want to put it.
Maybe I think before, after, it should be like a little bit over like a little bit over like 1,000.
Okay. So approximately 1,000, and and out of that is how you pay your. I'll come to the accommodation side.
Yeah.
So let's talk to Eugene. Eugene, how much are we looking at? You're muted. So okay, how much are we looking at in terms of are you paid monthly? Were you paid weekly, bi-weekly?
Okay. Before I answer that, I want to say if we are comparing networks, I think UK is going to come last in this situation. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Just a joke. Okay. For we're paid, or normally for the scholarship you get paid monthly, but I think every year you get a larger sum to cover every other expenses, like the research amounts, and also the flight tickets. That's towards the end of the scholarship. But normally you get your scholarship every the end of every month. Yeah.
Great. So let's talk about accommodation. So approximately how much should anybody who wants to study in the UK, Germany, or the US estimate? And how much do you pay, if you can give us an idea? Let's talk to Z first. Okay. Z, we cannot hear you, unfortunately. We don't know what is happening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Z.
Okay. It depends on the accommodation you choose to go for. So if you choose to go for student accommodation and the kind of student accommodation you're going for, so you can choose to have maybe in an apartment which is shared, and you can also choose to be in one that you have your own washrooms and everything. So it depends, right? So I was in an ensuite. I had my own toilet and bath in my room in a student's housing, and I paid around £800 a month. But with that said, there were also people who were paying around £600 in student housing. Also, if you choose not to do student housing and you want to maybe rent a room in a flat share, you could pay between 600 to 700, 750. Also really depending on how, like, what amenities you have. So I think I would peg it averagely around £700 a month. There definitely can be, it might be less or more depending on the kind of room, but averagely I'll peg it around 700, because when I was a student I used to pay around £800 a month. But that's also because I was in I had my own amenities. I had my own like washroom and my own toilet in the room, and it was we had a shared kitchen. But it really depends on what you're going for.
Great. So if you want to study in the UK, you can now have an idea on how to plan. So Eugene, you said your scholarship covered your accommodation. How much do you think you were spending on accommodation generally?
First of all, so Claire, the scholarship doesn't cover the accommodation, but you pay your accommodation expenses from your living expenses, which was around 850 at that time, but now it's around 900 and something euro. So for the accommodation, you're basically going to get accommodation around 250 to 550 euro. So this is the case because most universities have a body for student accommodation, which is not just in the university, but most times in the university as well as outside the university. So you can get cheap accommodations from around 250 euro to 300 euro. But if you are staying in other accommodations from external providers, it can be as high as 550 euro every month. So I think it's relatively cheap. It's relatively cheaper compared to the UK.
All right, today you are definitely on the UK today. All right, so Miss Hetty, let's talk about your accommodation. How much do you think roughly you spend on accommodation? And you are saying that your stipends are being paid. Now, when you receive the stipend, that's the same amount of money you're going to use to pay for your accommodation. So does it mean that you choose where you want to stay?
Yeah, so you choose where you want to stay, and just like Z mentioned, it's also dependent on where you want to stay as well. Because if I'm right, for my school, like graduate students, you have to go for either like an apartment, like a studio apartment, or like a furnished or unfurnished, or like a shared space. So it's ideally dependent on where you want to stay, and then also it's also dependent on the state and like the city in which your school is located. Because like sometimes when I interact with friends from other states and I hear how much they are paying for rent for something similar to what I'm in, then I'm like, oh, probably yours looks cheaper. Others too, I'm like, what I'm paying and what I'm getting is even better off than what you're paying as well. So for me, I approximately my rent should be like also a little over 500. But let me just like place it on 500 for rent. And especially for me, my rent covers like utilities, so I don't really like pay, unlike other people where at the end of every month they have to pay their electric bill, like water, and like basic utilities as well. So that's what my rent is, and it also depends on where you want to go for. Yeah.
Great. So Z, we are not seeing you now. I think Z is having a little bit of a challenge. That's absolutely fine. So let's talk about how you can save or make money. So as an international student, can you work? So let's first talk up to Eugene. As an international student, can you, as schooling, can you be working and making some money too?
Yes, absolutely. You can work. Like it's very important if you're an international student, you have to work. So in general, in Germany, I think you have like 20 hours is it per week? Yeah. Yeah, I think about 20 hours per week for you to work. And if you are not on a scholarship, you have to work. If you are on a scholarship like the DAD scholarship, you can work, but first you have to inform your scholarship body that you are going to work, and then you do the process. But at the end of the day, you are still allowed to work depending on the type of job that you're going to do. So yeah, and for the jobs, you can make as much as for many jobs you can make as much as 1,000 or 1,200 euro every month.
All right, so let's be clear. You are receiving a scholarship which is paying you monthly, and then you can also pick up jobs as a student in Germany to work to get additional money. That's what I mean.
Yes, that's what I'm answering. For students and under scholarship, your especially the DAD scholarship, if you get a mini job and the job is paying you around 450 euro, it doesn't affect your scholarship. You still get your scholarship money. That was the range. I think this amount changes with time. But as at the time where I was still schooling, the amount you can get every month from a job as a student with a scholarship, with a DAD scholarship, it was around 450. Once you get a job that is paying you above that amount, you are likely to get a deduction from your scholarship. Yeah, but I was just making a general case whereby you can work depending on your job and how much you are getting paid. Yeah, you can make as much as 1,200 every month.
All right, let's talk to Miss Hetty. Miss Hetty, as a student, are you able to work and get extra money?
Mm. As an F1 visa applicant and an international student in the US, you are just allowed to work 20 hours, and that's like in school. You cannot work like outside, especially we're like on scholarship. You are not allowed to like work outside as an international student. So it just has to be like on campus job. That's like for you as an international student, and it's 20 hours a week. Yeah.
Great. So, which means that the 20 hours a week is what you are having as a scholar
Yeah.
for your assistantship.
Yes.
Okay. So, shout outs to Aziz. Aziz said he's watching us from Tamale. Tamale is a beautiful city. I think people really underrate Tamale. I've been to Tamale before. It's a beautiful city. So, Aziz, thank you for watching us from Tamale. Let's talk to Z. Z, how is it like? Can you work as a student in the UK?
First of all, hi to Aziz. I grew up in Tamale, so it's nice to see that some of my people are here. So yes, with the UK, you can work in the UK, and you can also, it's really similar to what's been shared already. You can work for about 20 hours a week, and that's when during term time. So when school is on holidays or vacation, you can work full time, but during term time, you are restricted to 20 hours a week, and you can't go above that because it's also noted in your visa. So when you go to find a job, or you can work outside the university, so you can do different kinds of jobs. So when you go to find a job, they'll look at they definitely need to prove your right to work, so they'll look at your visa, and if the job requires that you're going to work more than 20 hours a week, they would not give you the job, basically. Or maybe they can make an arrangement that you just have to work 20 hours a week during term time. So yes, you can work, and you also need to bear that in mind. And I'm just going to chip this in quickly because I think I don't know, Fred, if you were bringing it up, but I also know there are people who ask questions about whether you can work and pay your fees. And from where I sit, if you're going to be working for 20 hours a week during term time, it's going to be really difficult for you to count on that to use to pay your fees, to pay accommodation, to take care of your transportation, take care of your feeding, and your general well-being. So that's something you should think about if you're thinking about coming to use to work to pay your fees. There are so many nuances and things that you need to consider.
All right, great. So thank you for tuning in. My name is Frederick. You're still live here on the Fred Effect YouTube channel. In a few minutes, I'll be allowing you to join us live here and ask any of my guests the questions that you have. We've covered a lot of topics, so you can check out this stream later on if you are not able to catch up with us, but you are still not late. We have a lot of information to give you here. So we are comparing studying in the UK versus studying in Germany and then studying in the US. So Miss Hetty is in Southern Illinois University, Carbondale in the US. Z studied at the London School of Economics in the UK, and Eugene is also with us. He is originally from Nigeria, studied in Germany. So we are simply comparing how these processes work. So let's talk about what you would have done differently, or anybody watching us should do if they want to study in any of these countries. Let's start with Eugene. Eugene, what would you do differently if you were supposed to start your entire study in Germany all over?
I think this is a tricky question because I don't know what I would do differently. I think I would just do the same thing I did, but maybe I would do it earlier than I did. Okay. I think most people get it wrong in the sense that they feel like they cannot do it by themselves. Yeah, they feel like it's too much it's too complicated. Yeah, I understand it can be complicated if you are new to this, but that is why we are here. All of us here, we are here to guide you with some information, and then you can go ahead to dig in on the information you get further. So I would say what you can do right now is get the information, get the link, go through the website, try to read everything on the website, and then send an inquiry to the university. Sometimes I get a lot of questions I cannot even answer. I will be sincere with you. There are some questions because I take my time to get the information and say, okay, these are the eligibility criteria. This is right. Some places are going to be eligible for this, but I might not, because I don't want to apply to it for myself. I might not go into the full details, the full there might still be some missing links, So that is where you come in, get information instead of trying to get the answer from me or any other person. You can send an inquiry directly to the university. One thing I love about universities abroad, they will respond to you. It might take 2 days, it might take 1 week, but they will definitely respond to you. So send a message, send an email to the university if you have some kind of questions, and you definitely get a response, and then you can continue from there. So that is what I did during my time. That is why I said I don't know what I would do differently. When I got the link from a friend, I read through, look at the eligibility requirement. Am I eligible? Okay, I am eligible. What is next? What are the documents needed? I saw the documents, listed them out, and try to get the documents. And then how do I submit this document? How do I apply? Do I send the documents through the application portal, or do I send the documents via mail in hard copies to Germany? So I got the answer from the website, and I did that. That is simply, it's quite simple. You just have to get the information from the website, or if you cannot get it, send an inquiry to the international office or any contact information you can see on the website, and your problem will be solved. Yeah, but you can still ask your questions, but on the comment section on any video. But sometimes you like myself as an example, I wouldn't have the time to go through all the comments and answer all the questions. So it's much easier for you not to wait than but better still just send the inquiry directly, and yeah, I think you'll be good.
Okay, so great. I'll be sharing the links to Miss Hetty's YouTube channel, Eugene Brown's YouTube channel, as well as Z's YouTube channel in the description, so that you can easily click on it and take you there. Z, what would you do differently if you were supposed to start this whole process all over again?
You know what, since you asked this question, I've been thinking, I really don't know what I would have done differently. Because I studied the course I wanted to study. I studied it in the university I wanted to study. I managed to get everything paid for. I was fortunate to I'm fortunate to be part of an alumni network that gives me access to lots of different people from different countries. I really don't think I'd have done anything different, as it pertains to my scholarship experience and my study abroad experience. I think the only thing I probably would have done differently would be post-study. So start making plans earlier than I did. Because one thing that's important for me to mention here is that with achieving a scholarship, you are supposed to go back to your home country for at least 2 years before you come back to the UK if you want to live in the UK. So I didn't want to break the rules. I went back home, and so I think for me it would have been to plan very much ahead and be more intentional about what I was going to do after school. But that was like after I had studied. But when it comes to the scholarship in itself, I think I just hit a gold mine. And I believe I studied at the time I was meant to study. So I really don't think I would have done anything differently because I had basically everything handed to me in terms of not struggling to pay anything. I put in the work, I applied, I went through the process. As competitive as it was, I got it. So I think that's basically it from me. I wouldn't have really done anything differently apart from those study plans.
All right. So let's talk to Miss Hetty. Miss Hetty, what would you have done differently?
I think I'm also more or less like on the same page with Z and Eugene. I wouldn't really have done like anything different. Maybe apart from the fact that I would avoid like hearsay and then be patient. I'm saying this because I started like this whole study abroad journey like years before like I eventually got admission, and I'd always heard like too many stories. Oh, it's difficult to get into schools in the US. Oh, it's hard. The visa interview they'll deny you, and all. So I had those things in my mind. So when I was doing like my study abroad process, I was looking at Germany, like Canada, because I knew those places were like easy to get in. So that's like one thing I would avoid these kind of statements, and then would have started way earlier, and then also be patient because I remember during when I was preparing for my visa interview process, which I'm sure Fred you remember, like, and I wasn't getting a date. I was like eager to have wanting to travel elsewhere to go and do like my visa interview because I was hearing there are no dates and there are not going to be dates as well. So I think those are like the two things: avoiding hearsay and starting like the process earlier, and then also exercising patience as well, because everybody's journey is different. So yeah, those are like the few things that I think I would have done different.
All right, there you go. So we're still live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, we are live on X or Twitter, the Fred Effects handle, and also on Instagram. We are actually live on TikTok as well. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. This is the biggest study abroad content creation platform as an African. So we are discussing the differences in studying in the UK, the US, and also Germany. This session will still be live on the Fred Effects platforms. If you want to go back and learn from the ideas and information, we are just like you. We are not different from you who want to study here. We went through similar processes and we were successful with it. Now we are telling you how you can also do it. So it's highly possible. Believe in yourself. Take a step. If you don't have a passport, start making the efforts to get one. And by God's grace, you also sail through just like we did. So you can join us live if you're watching us on YouTube. I just shared the link to the platform where you can actually request and join us so that you can ask your questions live to my guest. And you're also watching us on Twitter or X. I shared the link, is a StreamYard link. All you need to do is to click on it, and then you'll be able to join us here as well. So my guests all have their content platforms that you have to follow and subscribe. So at the moment, Miss Hetty is starting a content platform, which is Miss Hetty on YouTube. She has posted one video. So, Miss Hetty, what should people expect on your platform?
I'm going to be sharing my whole study abroad journey, like the entire process, the ins and like the outs, because I realize most people have been texting me about it. And then also life as an international student in the US. But my main focus is the whole study abroad journey, because I feel like some people, and like this is based on personal experience, are just reluctant to do the whole study abroad journey, especially with the US, because of what we've been told and like what we've heard, that it's difficult, you cannot get in, there are no scholarships. But because I was able to sail through, I want to like share my experience as well, so that people out there can take a few tips and then also go ahead and apply to like schools in the US and eventually make it here as well. So content like study abroad process, life as an international student, and then a few like tips on that side is what I'll be sharing on my content in the coming days. Yeah.
All right. So we'll go to Eugene's platform and then we'll come to Z. So a lot of people have the view that getting a US visa, and I wanted to ask quickly, does the US require a visa interview, or you can just submit your documents and get it approved?
The US requires a visa interview for F1 applicants. If you are going to study as an F1 applicant, like from Ghana, and I believe that the US requires a visa interview
All
for
right.
you to get your visa.
Does the UK require a visa interview?
At the time I applied, yes. So I had a visa interview. It was virtual. So when I got to the visa application center, there was like a laptop, and then there was someone who basically asked me about my study, my course, and whatever I wanted to study. However, I'm not 100% sure if these days they still have visa interviews. But either way, the visa interview is just for you to prove to, if you get to the point where you're having the visa interview, then there's very, you just have to prove that you're actually going to study something that's worth studying. It shouldn't be very scary. Because it's just, if you know your course well, your motive for wanting to study that course and just the ins and outs of that, then you should be fine.
Okay, so at the moment, do you have an idea whether a visa interview is required for the visa?
I could check that and get back to you shortly. I could just verify that and let you know during the same session. But I haven't, during my time, I did have a visa interview, but I'll let you know shortly.
Okay, great. So please check out the Z Study Hub. Z actually shares her journey, how she was able to secure all these scholarships, the assets involved in the Chevening scholarship, and how she was able to go about applying to the school. She studied in one of the best schools in the world, the London School of Economics. So if you go to any social media platform, whether TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, just check Z Study Hub and then subscribe to the Z Study Hub YouTube channel to learn more. Let's talk to Eugene. Eugene, does Germany require a visa interview?
Yes, absolutely. You have to apply for your visa, and then you would have to go for the visa interview. Most times it's just simple questions like what course are you going to study? What is the name of the university? How are you going to fund your study? So yeah, they are basic questions, and you just have to answer those questions with all confidence, and I don't think there's a problem.
Let's talk about this. Normally, my brand is always focused on positivity. So normally, I don't want to talk about certain things on my platform. But what has been the major challenge to you as an international student? Let's start with Miss Hetty.
Major challenge is I think also I think Z mentioned something similar, like postgraduate plans, thinking about what to do like after school, mainly because of like the academic experience and academic journey that I've had like prior to coming to the US. So I think that's like, even though like not there yet, but it's something that like keeps like ringing in my head most part of the time. And then language barrier. Yes. As an international student, even though we are all speaking, it's an English speaking country, and I'm obviously coming from an English speaking country, we were colonized by the British. So our accents, tonations, pronunciations are different from that of those in the US. So sometimes you speak and people are like, huh? Like, what did you say? Like, you don't understand. And then you just keep asking, it's not the same English that I'm speaking. So why is it that these people don't understand like what I'm saying? So I think that has been a major challenge for me. I haven't really experienced like very maybe like very serious like stuff, like maybe what some people have experienced, but mainly that has been like my challenge as an international student studying in the US. Yeah.
All right, let's talk to Z, and then we come to you, Eugene. Z, what has been your challenge?
So challenges. I think generally it was okay. The first challenge I'd say was that it's because the UK's master's program is a 1 year master's program. It was really really intense. So that for me was a different kind of studying. It was just really really different. So having to go through lots of readings and having to just come up with different it came with a lot of critical thinking, which was really good. It was a great learning experience, but it's quite different from what I was used to in Ghana, whereby it was a lot of chewing and passing and chewing and pouring and passing, so it was quite different. In this case you had to be very analytical. I do understand that it's definitely a master's degree is different from an undergraduate degree, but I also do think that it's very different in many ways, in terms of what we do in Ghana and what we do in the UK. Again, the weather was quite challenging at the beginning. I do understand that they say there's no bad weather, it's bad clothing. If you wear the right clothes, you're good. But it's still what it is. I am used to the tropical region, I'm used to warm weather. So having to deal with all of the weather, the very long days, it can get to you if you don't have family here. And for me, I studied during COVID, so I was in my second term or almost towards my third term when COVID hit. So it was like you're away from home in a global pandemic without family, without people, and there's a lot of chaos everywhere, and you're just trying to keep your sanity. That was also really challenging. Apart from that, I think everything was generally really good because I studied in a university that was very supportive, in a department that was supportive. The other things would be things that really didn't have much, I wouldn't say have much to do with my study abroad journey. I think it's the general culture shock that you also experience when you're outside Ghana. And the one thing that is quite big for me, which a lot of people might think is silly or it's not that big, for me, I am not from a society where there's a lot of smoking, and I find that there's a lot of public smoking. People are walking around on the streets and smoking, and I really do not like being a secondary smoker. Inhaling smoke that I don't want to. So that was a culture shock for me. I think the other thing would be also like food, but to be fair, there are Ghanaian and African shops that you can get stuff. So in general, these were the things. I would have said racism, but I think a lot of British people are really really nice. But then again, in terms of racism, they are very subtle. Those who are racist are very subtle, and I think I shared this with you in a video, Fred. The person who was racist to me was also someone from a minority, and that's like a whole different story altogether. So yeah, that's it, I guess, from me.
I think for just to add a little to like what Z said, I think I left this part out, which has to do with the learning style. So just like Z mentioned, we are used to like the chew, pour, pass, and forget. And getting here, and it's like you need to apply your knowledge. You need to like do a lot of research. So that's also like a bit of a struggle trying to settle it. And then writing style, because how we write essays and like submit tests and stuff in Ghana was completely different like when I got here. So that was also like a bit of a challenge that took me a while, like sleepless nights trying to adjust, because you write a paper, you turn it in, and it comes with like so many corrections, and you're like, what am I doing different? But subsequently, I think the school's also supported because they have like a writing center where you can go with your assignments, and then they'll help you do all the necessary corrections and appropriate citations than what I'm used to also help you like come up with a very good script to submit at the end of the day to your professor. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add up.
Yeah, thank you. So you mentioned you could be here for an hour. Are you still good to go, or
Yeah, I think I'll be here for another 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So we wanted to know your experience studying abroad, and all that.
Yeah, okay. So the major challenge I think you would face if you come to Germany is the language barrier. Yeah. So I think everybody is different when it comes to learning a new language. For me, I think I'm one of the slowest when it comes to learning a new language. Yeah, it's the major challenge, and even up to now, it's still a challenge. But most of the time, you study in English, so you don't have any a problem with your studies. But relating with the community, to some extent, you need the German, and also getting a job after your studies is very important. Although you can get jobs, English speaking jobs, currently they are English speaking jobs, but if you can speak German up to a good level, it increases your chances of getting a good job after your studies. So my advice to beat this challenge would be, if you are sure you are coming to Germany for your studies, already start learning the language. You can use Duolingo. There are a lot of resources as well on YouTube. You can start learning German, learn the A1. That can take you like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to learn the basics, not the entire A1 anyway. But yeah, you should start learning the language, and so that when you come to Germany, you already start speaking, and that is good for you.
All right, so Eugene is going to be with us for the next probably 8 minutes. And so I'll be picking up questions. But of course, you can request. If you look at the YouTube channel, the Fred Effect YouTube channel, you have to put your video on in order to be allowed into the studio. So please, if you want to join us and ask your questions live, make sure your video is on. So Freddie Talata is saying Z is a sharp lady. You know Talata, Z?
No,
You're getting all the fans. So this is my platform. You can't come and
no,
get fans like
thank you.
anyway. Great.
That's
So let's pick few people who want to talk to us. I see Josie, and then I also see Ahuna Lovefred. And Eugene, at any point in time, I appreciate for joining in. If you would have to go and do something else, that's absolutely fine. Let's have Ahuni, Lordfred. Lordfred, how are you doing?
I'm fine, please. Thank you.
Please go ahead with your question, sir.
I want to direct you to Ms. Z. I've gained admission to study my MSc accounting at University of Bradford. So I want to know how I can apply for a scholarship in that regards. Because
okay.
the letter came with part scholarship. I think it was around £5,000, but the total tuition fee is £20,000.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations on getting admission.
Thank you.
I can also really imagine how stressful it must be to get admission and get very small funding, and knowing that like it's just some money that's left for you to go. So what I would encourage you to do, I don't know if you've taken these steps already, but what I would encourage you to do is to send send the admissions team an email, or the program director an email, and explain to them why you want to study the course you want to study, how it would support your career, how it would support like your future aspirations, and why you would need support in terms of funding. And then also ask them if they have any kind of funding that they can help you with, or if they can signpost you. So that is, if they can show you who to contact, or if they can show you any other place to get funding. The reason I'm saying this is that in this case, you would need more internal funding from the university. If you do not have your own source of funding, that is, if you don't have family and friends that can help you get money, you would need internal funding from the university. So I would encourage you to really contact the university, and then take it from various angles. So you can send your department an email, or you can be your program director an email. You can send the admissions office an email. You can send the funding office an email. Make it a very polite email, but also make it clear what you're studying. Make it clear why you need the support, and make it clear what the education will do for you. And I think that's also really important. I hope it works out. If it doesn't, you can also check out other external scholarships. But the reason I haven't recommended that first to you is because you would have to have applied for those ones prior, before even getting admission. That would be something you use for your funding. So at this moment, if it comes to the university itself, your best bet would be to contact the university. There is no harm in trying. I know someone who was in a similar situation, and she got a similar advice. She sent the investor an email, and then eventually they helped her. So you have nothing to lose. I encourage you to go about that. That is if you cannot raise the money by yourself through family and friends. The best way would be to contact the university. So do a lot of research on the university's website. You would find their emails, the emails to their people, and please make sure that the email is very good and there are no grammatical errors. You want to impress them with the email. If the person decides to take a second look at it and say, this might be someone I would want to help, or I can tell this person to email this other person, or I want to give them, or we want to increase the funding we want to give this person. So yeah, that's what I would encourage you to do at this point. I think the last thing would be, just depending on how it goes, also look out for external scholarships, so that I hope it works out, but if it doesn't work out and you decide to try it next year as well, and you defer, you would also be working on external scholarships alongside, so that if you get that external scholarship, then it would help you with your funding.
Okay, I would like to quickly chip in something. My advice to anyone watching is, do not apply for admission if you do not have plans of funding. So I have a lot of people coming in, I have gotten admission, what funding, what can I use to fund? It's not about, you have to understand that it's not about applying for admission and getting admitted. You can get, like, when I was applying, I think this is one of the mistakes I made. I got a lot of scholars, I got a lot of admission to the UK, and no funding, sometimes merit scholarship. Don't rely on merit scholarship. Merit scholarship, especially if you are not from a very rich background and you can fund yourself. Before you apply for admission, sit down, make a plan. I want to apply to this university. I do not have money to go abroad, but I believe I can go abroad. What are the fundings that I can use for this particular course? Those are the kind of email you have to send to the university first, to understand what are the fundings that I can apply to this particular program. They might send you an email back and give you a list of fundings that you can apply to that. They can be internal fundings within the university. They can be external from external bodies, so that you know how to do this as a package, not like applying for only admission. And then there are different ways for you to fund. Some universities offer loan. So they can give you a student loan whereby you pay this money after you have finished your program and you have gotten a job. Until you get a job, you do not pay your school fees. So you get admitted into the university, you already know that for this admission, I would fund it with a loan. Then you have this already in mind. Don't apply for any admission. Just apply, and then you know that you see 20,000 on the university website and you apply for the admission. You don't have plans for funding. I think that's kind of a waste of time. Sometimes you say, maybe I'll get a funding after I've gotten the admission. Plan about, you don't have to get the funding already, but have a plan of funding and admission, not just for admission alone. Yeah.
I think I want to add up a bit to what Eugene said, and I think this question might somehow come up. Like with the US, for instance, if you're applying for school, you should have a means of providing a proof of funds. That's one thing you need to have at the back of your head, because most schools require that you submit a proof of funds. So just like Eugene mentioned, you should have like a plan for financial support, because irrespective of the fact that you might get on a full scholarship, the school might ask you to still provide some form of like bank statements during your application process. Or even if they don't ask for that, when you are requesting for your I-20, you might be asked to submit a financial statement to show like your proof of funds in case you don't get the funding. At least you have something to fall back on. So you should at least have a plan for a financial statement before you begin like this whole school application process, that when that question pops up, whether before or during or even after to receive your I-20, at least you have this that you can quickly like turn in to get the necessary documents from the school.
All right. So the communication people are communicating. Eugene, Kofi Labi is asking on TikTok, when you want to study in Germany, can you come with your dependent?
Yeah, currently you can come with your dependent if you have, normally if you must show proof of funds for your family. So for a single person, currently I think it's about 11,000 euro. There are different means of funding. For example, if you have the DAD scholarship, it also covers for your family, so you don't have to show any proof of funds. I mean, it's not proof of funds; it's blocked account. So you have to send that money into a German bank account to show your proof of funds. So if you're coming with your wife alone or your husband, then I think you also need the same amount, maybe 11,000 plus for both. That's times two. Then if you have kids, I think it's like half of that amount, but everything you have to sum up together and put in a blocked account as your proof of funds if you're coming to Germany with your
Okay.
family.
So with your scholarship, did you still need the block account?
No, with your scholarship, you don't need a blocked account. And if you're coming with your family with a DAD scholarship, you also do not need a blocked account, except the type of scholarship you have only caters for the scholar alone. But the family, it doesn't cater for the family. Then you have to create a blocked account for the family, any accompanying family member.
Okay. So Evans has joined us for some time now. Evans, please go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much, Fred. My question has to do with scholarship. So let's take it from this angle that I've gained admission with a partial scholarship. Is there any way that I can get another scholarship from outside sources to support my education?
I'll be very glad if you were specific about the country. That would really help with the answers.
US or Canada?
Do you have a specific country so we can explain very well?
US.
Have you gained admission yet or yet to apply, bro? Hello, Evans. Okay, so Evans is having connection issues. Let's talk to Francis now. Francis, please go ahead and mute and then let's hear from you.
Oh, thank you. For me, I'm also studying in Germany and I have a DAD funding, so I just wanted to chip in and also give advice to people for like if you have like a DAD scholarship, you don't need a blog account. And like what Eugene said, it's better you use Duolingo to at least learn maybe German A1 or to up to A2 so that when you come, it's gonna be easier for you to integrate into the German society. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for joining. So which city are you in Germany?
Oh, I'm in University of Potsdam, like closer to Berlin. I attend University of Potsdam.
Nice to have you here, Francis. You from Nigeria?
No, originally I'm from Ghana, but now I relocated to USA, but I'm still doing my PhD in Potsdam.
Ah, okay, nice.
You guys want to speak some German here?
Wie geht's? Wie geht's, Eugene?
Gut. Bei dir, alles gut?
Ja, alles gut, danke.
Hast du gegessen?
My German isn't that good.
Du gar nicht gut Deutsch sprechen.
Ich spreche sprechen Deutsch klein, bitte.
Ein bisschen Deutsch. Alles gut da.
All right, that was just by the way. Thank you for joining us, Francis. So let's talk to Vincent. Vincent, how are you doing? Vincent, please go ahead. Hello, Vincent. You can, if you can hear us, go ahead, Vincent. Okay, I think Vincent is having issues trying to connect. So let's pick another person. Let's see. Let's talk to Enoch. Enoch, you can unmute yourself and go ahead. How are you doing? Enoch, please go ahead. How are you doing?
Okay. Hi, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yourself?
Thank you for asking, sir. I'm okay.
All right. First, I would like to thank your guest. I'm a student. I'm currently in the University of Cape Coast, level 300. I read biomedical sciences. I would like to know if it's possible that a person reading this program can directly apply to PhD program in the US, and if it is we need to have before applying.
All right, Hetik, would you be able to?
Yes, I think I know quite a number of people with that background in the US who came directly into a PhD program without having like a master's degree. And I think, Fred, this is one thing that most people don't know. Like, per my knowledge, most schools in the US do not necessarily need you to have a master's degree to pursue a PhD program here. And like I said, I know people who do that. So it's mainly dependent on your course of study and the documentations required. And so for your program like this, obviously you have like so much lab work, experiences, and some experiments that you can put together like a whole like essay or report about. And the most important thing is to like research the school you want to go to, the course you want to study, and then reach out to the program chair. And if you're able to go through the department's website and the specific professor whose research interest aligns with yours, you can reach out to them directly and they'll respond via email. And just like Z mentioned, you might want to be professional in your email. So it's always best to like avoid certain petty mistakes and then have somebody like read through and just send out this email introducing yourself and expressing your interest, and this is your academic background. If you have like certificates or documentations to prove what you have done so far in that course of study or that area, you can attach that, and then make sure you keep up with the conversation. And from there, you can go ahead and put in your application, and it'll be very easy for this professor to stand on an admission board and put in a word or two for you to be giving admission and with full funding. So just like I mentioned, usually with PhD programs, the people I know in the field of like what you're studying end up getting a full scholarship for their entire PhD study. So I would suggest that you go for it, irrespective of the fact that you don't have a master's degree background. But with your bachelor's degree, you will be able to get a PhD program and with full funding as well.
We cannot hear you, Fred.
So you're still live on the Fred Effect YouTube channel. We do this every weekend. And so today we are looking at the differences if you want to study in the UK, in the US, or in Germany. And so Eugene and Francis are joining us from Germany. Z is in the UK, and Hetty is in the US. So you can request and then join us and ask your questions. So thank you, Enoch, for joining. So I see you, Aminu Abdul.
Okay, I'm sorry if I can intercept. Yeah. I'll leave now, but before that, I just want to give like a final talk. I think Francis is here, so Francis would answer questions that are coming from that are directed towards Germany. Yeah. Okay. So I will just say, studying abroad or wanting to study abroad can be challenging. It can be overwhelming. But the good thing is that it is possible. So every year people get scholarships. You just have to wait for. You just have to be consistent in applying. Do not give up, and very soon it's going to be your turn, and you'll get your admission and scholarship. Like for me, I applied a lot. When I finished my first degree, I had a lot of applications that came with rejection until I got that scholarship. And I think that scholarship was the final scholarship because I already started my master's at University of Benin in Nigeria. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to apply for this last one. I already started my master's. If I do not get a scholarship, I'm going to finish my master's and then try to go abroad for my PhD. So this was the last one I did. So imagine I didn't take this last, like apply to the DAD scholarship. Definitely I wouldn't have been here today. So I would say take your time, go through the scholarship websites, try to understand it. The basic things you need to understand is to know if you're eligible, the documents you need to submit, and how to submit those documents. Those are the key informations that you need. So once you get those information, you're eligible, you get the document, submit the documents the way the university wants you to submit that, and that is it, you are good to go. So do not give up, keep applying, and you'll be successful one day. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Fred, and everyone present for having me, and I wish you a successful evening as you continue. Yeah.
Right. So don't forget to please subscribe to the Eugene Brown YouTube channel. Please follow Eugene on Facebook. He actually shares ideas and information, his journey, how he did it, and how you can also do it. So Eugene, thank you very much for joining us, and we appreciate the information you've shared with us. I know it's going to go a long way to help most of our brothers and sisters who tuned in to watch us today. Right. Thank you so much, Eugene.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Right. So Francis will take over. So Francis, thank you so much for your time. So let's pick other people to join us. Let's talk to Abdul, and then Sadiq has joined us. So let's talk to Abdul first. Abdul, how are you doing? Please go ahead with your questions, sir.
I'm fine, thank you, Fred. Good evening to you guys.
Yes, sir. Go ahead with your question.
Hello, Fred. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all of us can hear you, sir. Go ahead with your question, please. Okay, looks like Abdul is having issue with a connection. Let's talk to Sadiq. Sadiq, how are you doing?
Well, Fred, please, my question is this. Okay, please. My question is this. I'm a general nurse here in Ghana, and I have 3 years working experience, but okay, sir. Please, I'm a general nurse here in Ghana.
Okay. All right. So I'm having issues trying to connect the two of them. Let's see if we can get another person on. Sadiq, let's see if you can hear us now. Sadiq, go ahead. You're muted. Please unmute yourself, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, so currently I want to
Okay, so Sadiq, your sound is not very clear. If you could kindly do us a favor and reconnect again, that would be great. Let's talk to Odia Henkai. Odia Henkai, let me know if you can hear me. Odia Henkai, please unmute and go ahead. Okay, let's talk to James. James, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Good evening, Fred.
Good evening,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to ask a question to Miss Hattie. For that graduate assistantship scholarship, is it all schools that in the US that do it?
Yeah, most schools in the US do like give scholarship in the form of a graduate assistantship. Yes, a lot of universities in the US do that.
A lot, and you can use it to pay for your tuition and everything.
The graduate assistantship covers your tuition. So all you have to do is to so if it's coming from your department, you might either be doing like research, or you might be doing like teaching, or you might be doing administrative work. So it depends on the form of assistantship that you get. So like there's a research, there's a teaching, and then there's administrative. So long as you have that, it covers like your tuition, and then some of them cover like tuition and then like health insurance and university fees, but some cover just like your tuition. So and in exchange for the work you're doing, you're also getting paid. So then you use that money to cover like every other expenses that you incur.
All right, thank you for joining in. Let's talk to Abdul. Abdul, I think you are clear now. Abdul, please go ahead. Aminu Abdulaziz, please go ahead. Abdulaziz, go ahead. Okay, I think people are having network issues. Frederica, let's know if you can hear us. All right. You can also join us. The link is actually shared in the comments. I shared it on X, on Facebook, and also if you check my post on YouTube, you can use that StreamYard link. Join us live in the studio and ask your questions. I think Vincent is clear now. Vincent, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Great. Please go ahead with your question, sir.
Good evening to you guys.
Yes,
good evening to you guys.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
All right. I applied Ohio University. Tomorrow I'll be having a graduate assistantship interview. Then Thursday I'll have for the interview for the admission. Any advice for me? And then I want to ask Ms. Hetty, as someone rightly asked you, has it covered the whole tuition or parts of it?
Okay, so first of all, I mean, all the best in your interview, both on Tuesday and Thursday. I think, so personally, I didn't go through any interview process for my admission or for my funding, but having conversations with other people, I think the most important thing is to just be you and be honest with the information you put out there. one thing I've learned about studying abroad, especially in the US, is Americans are very like honest and transparent. So it's better to be yourself and like be as open as possible on certain questions that are being asked rather than forging stuff, and at the end of the day they go find out like all these things or all the information that you gave out were not like the exact information that you actually had. So just be yourself, be calm. They are humans just like us. So no need to do too much to impress. Just like it's a conversation. If you are being asked a question, respond to it. If you are being asked to provide certain documents, make sure you have the right one and pay attention and listen like attentively, because you might not be able to hear them when they speak. But as much as possible, just like my emphasis would be on be yourself. And about the scholarship, yes, it covers your tuition. So if you get a graduate assistantship, it covers your tuition every semester, every year, so you do not have to pay for your tuition. And like I mentioned earlier, some of them cover for health insurance and other benefits, but some don't. So depending on the type of assistantship that your school or your department gives you, that's when you'll be able to tell what else it covers aside your tuition.
All right, so let's talk to Sadiq. Sadiq, how are you doing? Sadiq, please unmute and we can hear you.
Okay, I'm doing good. Thank you very much for having me this evening. Please, can you hear me, please?
We are trying, not very clear. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is to Madam Hetty concerning studying in the US. Please, is there any universities that specifically gives graduate assistantship to teacher education?
For teacher education, to be honest, my best bet will be to research. I'm just going to be like honest with you. I don't want to give you any false information yet. Fred, please step in if I'm wrong, but I think you should research on like I mentioned earlier, identify the course. What exactly under teacher education do you want to study? Because mind you, how we name our courses in Ghana is different from how they do here. So research extensively on what exactly under that field. Is it education? Is it teaching? Like what exactly do you want to study there? Research on that particular course. It will give you like a list of schools, and then reach out to the graduate chair of that particular department to find out about like funding opportunities. Do you understand? That's like my best bit of like information that I can give out there. I don't know if maybe Fred might want to add or like subtract something else, but that's what I can. But like I mentioned earlier, most schools in the US give a graduate assistantship. It's just for you to research, reach out, inquire, and then have conversations with these people.
All right. Sadiq, what is your background in? What is your background?
Teacher education. Teacher education.
So just like Hetty said, you don't have to restrict yourself to only that field. If you have a bachelor's in teacher education, great. So you can look at maybe a master's in curriculum and instruction. You can look at master's in education, higher education. You can also look at childhood education, adult education. There are lots of options. Normally, I would suggest that at least you get like 5 different programs that you'll be targeting, and then you go on to different university websites. So in terms of education related, you can check out North Dakota State University. You can also check out South Dakota State University. You can check out even my university, Ohio University as well. So with you having a background in education, don't restrict yourself that the fact that you did maybe a master's in a bachelor's in mathematics does not necessarily mean you should only apply for master's in mathematics. There are other related fields that you can look into, including higher education and all that. Thank you for joining us, Sadiq. So let's bring another person on. Aziz, please unmute. I think your network is better now, and then go ahead with your question, sir. Aminu Aziz, please unmute and go ahead with your question. Go ahead, Aziz.
Yes, good evening. Good evening to you and your guest.
Right. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, sir. Good evening, please.
Go ahead, Aziz.
Please, my question is, I'm a general nurse in Ghana here, and I have 3 years of working experience. I'm saying that I'm a general nurse in Ghana here with 3 years working experience.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Go ahead with your question, sir.
Okay, sir, good. So I want to know what are my chances of getting schools in the US and then possibly getting what's the name, scholarship alongside.
I think it's just it's not that different from what Fred just said. Like most schools here, especially if you're a general nurse and you have like the experience, you should look at the field in nursing in which you want to apply to. And with your experience, it also gives you like an upper hand. So it's all like looking out for the schools and applying. I think University of oh, I've forgotten the name, but there's this school, is it Missouri? There's this school that has like is giving like admission a lot to like people in the nursing field with an international student scholarship. And you can look out for schools just like Fred mentioned in the field. You don't necessarily have to limit it to like nursing, but something in that same area. You can research and then find schools that offer like courses in that field that you can apply to and also get admission into with like some funding or like giving a full funding. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for joining us, Abdul. Let's talk to Cisse. Cisse, are you joining us? Cisse, you're also the Fred effect.
Maybe I did the wrong thing anyway.
All right, go ahead.
Good morning from my side. I'm joining you guys from China. I hold a master's degree in MBA, and I'm also pursuing another master's in public administrations in China currently. And after I would have done with this, I would like to pursue another master's probably in communication in the US. So I would like to know what are my chances of success in applying for another master's in US.
Did you say you want to apply for a master's in communication?
Exactly so.
Okay, so irrespective of your academic background, you will be able to get into the communication or like specific certain programs in the US. So I think I have like a friend who didn't have a communication background, and she was like from a different field altogether, but still gained admission into the communication program in my school. And I think just last year also, I know somebody with a sociology background who gained admission into the communication. It all has to do with like your transcript, your statement of purpose, and then the writing sample you're able to provide. It's the documentations that you're able to provide to the school that will determine the level at which you'll be able to achieve like what the department or the school has to offer, and it would prove to the admission committee that you truly deserve to be given a spot to pursue this particular program. So irrespective of your background, once you have your documentations right and you indicate your goals and why you want to study this program in that particular school and your more or less like your intended purpose for studying that program, that's what will give you like a higher chance to be admitted into the program. So your background doesn't really have an issue whether or not you be admitted into the program.
All right. So I want to take Francis' idea and then Z's ideas on he having 2 masters already, want to come in for a 3rd master. Z, what do you think?
So for me, I was curious as to why. I think it'd be good to know why you'd like to do a 3rd master's in communication.
The reason being,
you already said you have an MBA and then you have you're doing an MPA right now and you want to come in for a master's. Why not a P? Okay, so go ahead. Let's see your
well, the reason why I want to pursue another master's in communication is because I would like to go into the lecturing field. So I also want to improve on my communication skills. I realize that I have a problem with communication. So these are some of the reasons why I would like to go pursue another master's in communication.
Okay, thank you for responding. So I studied communications for undergrad and postgrad. And I think if the main reason, or maybe if one of the main reasons is because you want to improve your communication skills, I can say with confidence that postgrad in communications, a lot of it, well, I'm not 100% sure how it is in the US, but a lot of it is also really theoretical. So you're going to be you're going to be analyzing theories and try to understand theories. So it's not really on the practical side of learning how to communicate. So it's you understanding why some ideas in communications are the way they are, or how communications relates to different areas, maybe it is sociology, be it politics, and other areas. So it's not really you learning how to communicate for postgrad. The second thing about wanting to be a lecturer, I believe you can still pursue that and lecture in communications without having a master's in communications if what you do for a PhD is related to the field that you eventually want to lecture in. Unless, of course, the reason is because you probably feel like it would be easier for you to make it into a master's degree than it would be for you to make it into a PhD. I personally would recommend that you be confident enough and have a lot of guts and go for the big one, which would be a PhD. But if you really do want to go for a master's in communications, I think it's something you can go for, but I'd rather say that maybe the energy that you use to apply for another master's in communications when you already have 2 master's degrees, which is also really impressive already, I would say you should use that energy to go for a PhD. Like I said, it's largely my opinion, but if you strongly believe that you want another master's in communication, it's good to study communications. But really, as someone who's worked in comms and studied comms through and through, I would say that studying comms is not going to give you anything big. I'm not undermining what I studied. I'm just saying that if you really want to get the gains of it and you don't want to delve, and it's not like you have something specific, that you want, I would say that explore a PhD. There are so many things that you can get from comms if you study it, and if you want the theoretical part of it, which we have studied and we appreciate. But if you want to learn how to speak, how to be, there's so many different training opportunities that you can take to harness those skills. But yeah, I would say that if it were a field like maybe data science, that I'd say is more technical, that I'd be like, okay, maybe then you'd need to delve down into that. But if it's comms, if you're still convinced you want to do it, it's of course it's your career, it's a future, go for it. But if it's me, I would say take on some training courses, build on your communication skills, and then consider taking higher education, a PhD, and you can still lecture in comms if you put up especially if your PhD is related, if it's in a related field.
Okay, Francis, you want to come in?
Thank you, Z, for your advice. I think it's better for him to look at for a PhD because you already have like a 2 masters and already also doing another masters. Of course, for Moses, it's gonna be easier for you maybe to get a masters, but with all your experiences that you have, I think it's better you go in for a PhD. And with your in a PhD, you can do something related to communication and maybe with public or maybe with business related, so that it's not too far away from your previous experience. And also with communication and lecturing, when you start doing PhD, especially in the USA, sometimes you get like a teaching assistant and all those stuff. Then you can teach undergrad students through the years whilst you're doing your PhD. It's gonna build your confidence. You're going to go for conferences. You're gonna do some seminars and workshops. At the end of your PhD, you'll be equipped with the necessary skills to lecture. I'm doing my PhD in Germany, but I come to University of Pennsylvania to do presentation and conferences. I've been around most of European countries for conferences, and I'm not saying I'm better. I'm still learning, but the more you do something, the better you become. So instead of doing a master's, I would advise you to do a PhD. And if you need any assistance, you can contact all of us. You can contact me. I can help you. I'm not going to take any money because God has been great to me. So I will recommend you to go for the bigger shot, go for a PhD, but not a master's. Thank you.
Right. Great. Thank you, Francis. Francis, somebody has a question here. He said, please, when can I apply for universities in UK and Germany? Can I use my high school, that is WAEC results? Is it possible, Francis?
Yeah, for Germany, they have few undergrad courses which are taught in English, but for the DAD funding, it's going to be very difficult to get funding through the DAD when it comes to just a bachelor. But I know about 10 other German scholarship you could get, but sometimes the only sideline is that they require you to have an A1 or A2 German, but the DAD most of the time they don't require anything. So that's the downfall when it comes to Germany for a bachelor. But for the graduate, there are a lot of scholarship you can apply. You don't need a German language level. For UK, I think Z will be the one to explain when it comes to UK. Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's go, Z.
Yeah, so if you're applying for an undergraduate program, you can use your senior high results. The thing about the UK also is that there are more postgraduate scholarships than there are undergraduate scholarships. So with the undergraduate scholarships, some of them are partial, others are and they are very limited and they are quite competitive as well. So you can use your WASI to apply for to get admission, and you apply through UCAS, and it's the deadlines are quite similar. So you apply from around August, September when the applications open, and then the on-time deadlines for most undergraduate courses is at the end of January. So yeah, that's basically it from me.
All right, so we go to Esther. Before we go to Esther, you're live here on the Fred Effect YouTube channel. I have Z, who studied in the UK. Francis is studying in Germany, and then Hetty is studying in the US. Today, we are talking about how you can study in any of these countries and the differences and all that you should know. So if you are watching us, please do me a favor by following the Facebook page. Kindly share so that somebody else can join in. On YouTube, it's the Fred Effect. Please like and also share. On TikTok, the same thing, the Fred Effect, and X and Instagram too, the Fred Effect. Do us a favor by sharing so another person can join in. And please type your questions in the chat. We'll be happy to respond to them. So let's talk to Esther. Esther, how are you doing? And thank you for joining us. Please unmute, and then you can go ahead with your question, Esther.
Right, thank you. I'm doing great. So my question is to Miss Hetty. How long does it take to receive your I-20 after submitting your statement to the school?
So it depends on your school as well. Mine, for instance, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't have to submit a financial statement to get my I-20. I got my I-20 I think a month after my admission. But for some schools, after submitting your financial statement, even in my school, I think for some departments, after submitting your financial statement, yes, it takes about a month and a half to get your I-20, because there are lots of people who have applied and a lot of people have also gained admission. So it's not solely it's not just you. So that's how come it takes that long. So it's dependent on the school. Sometimes it might be a month or less. Sometimes it might be more than a month.
Okay, great. Esther, you have other questions? If not, we move on to another person. Thank you for joining in, Esther. Let's talk to Waga. Waga, how are you doing? Which country are you joining us from?
Thank you. I'm speaking from US.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my question goes to you. Thank you for the podcast you have been doing. That is great. We are grateful to you. My question is, the problem I have here is getting contact with you, because you gave us the Instagram that if someone have a personal question, they can get in touch with through the Instagram. But I think I sent you a message for about 2 weeks now. You didn't reply. That is so discouraging. So the question is about the fee. Say someone wants to use your service. Say the fee is $69, almost $70, if I'm correct. And so I want to know, does it cover all the costs that involve for you to do the application from application level to you get a 120, and then the mop-up interview, or there's other fee apart from that one?
All right, so Waga, thank you for the question. So in terms of responding to you on Instagram, I do my best. I'm trying to catch up with a lot of messages that I have. So I apologize for that, but I do try and keep up. The next thing is that the mock interview that we do is for like half a decade now. It's free. Once you have an interview scheduled, you send an Instagram message, we'll add you to the platform. We meet daily to help you through the process. Now, when it comes to talking to me, because a lot of people want to, so there is a way you can schedule an appointment. Now, at the moment, my team currently work on applications for free for individuals with high school and diploma qualification. So if you have a high school or a diploma qualification and you're interested in a bachelor's degree, we take your document and secure the admission and scholarship for you. But when it comes to master's and a PhD, we do have the mentorship program. And of course, it's a 30-minute conversation that we schedule for. So that is how it works, Waga. Let's talk to another person. Nana, we can't see you, but Nana, if you can hear me, kindly unmute and go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Fred.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Fred. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
My name is Nicholas. I'm speaking from Ghana. Hello, Mr. Fred.
All of us can hear you. We just can't
Mr.
see.
Fred, the issue is if somebody is having a certificate in community health nursing, is it possible the person can apply and obtain admission? Because I'm foreseeing the certificate programs to be a little bit low in terms of Ghana here, and so using the certificate in community health nursing, what are some of the programs that you can apply to at the United States and then obtain admissions?
All right, so certificate means that you have a 2-year bachelor's degree, and that is the equivalent of what we call associate degree in the US. So if you have an associate degree or community certificate, which is a 2-year transcript, then you can apply for a bachelor's degree as a transfer. And then some of the universities you can check out could be Rice State University. It's located in Ohio. You can apply for that as a transfer student. So you can use the 2-year transcript. You have your certificate. You should have a passport, 2 letters of recommendation, and an English proficiency letter, if you do have that, to apply as a transfer student into a bachelor's degree program. All right, let's talk to Precious. Precious, how are you doing? You have to unmute, Precious, and let's know who your question is going to. Is it Francis or Z? But before you do that, somebody is asking Francis, how do we get in touch with you? Francis, can you answer that?
Oh, okay. So Fred, is it okay if I give them my email, because this is your platform?
That's
and
absolutely.
I want to show the respect. I really understand authority and other stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I can be typing it in the chat as you mentioned them. So how do people email you?
Okay. I'll say, can I chat or you want me to send it to you then?
You can mention it while I type it.
Okay. Osei, OSEI.
Yeah, go ahead.
Then Francis, FRANCIS. Then 7@gmail.com.
Okay, so osefrancis7@gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with Francis, that is how you do it. Francis, do you have any other social media platforms that other people can get in touch?
Yeah, I have Instagram. But do you know Abigail Duku?
Yeah, I know Abigail Duku.
She's my junior. I talked to her too. She told me about you. That's why I joined.
Awesome. Great. So let's listen to Precious now. Precious, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Which part of
thank you for
Nigeria are you
organizing.
joining us from? Which part of Nigeria are you joining us from?
Oh, okay. Ogun State.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Nigeria.
Go ahead with your question.
Yeah. My question is directed to Francis.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to. I studied electrical electronics engineering, and I checked. I did a bit of research on like the EPOS that scholarship and found out that like there are some courses listed there that qualifies for the scholarship, but like my course of study doesn't qualify for it. So I wanted to like know what other route uh can like increase my chances for like studying in Germany, and like if I'm going the scholarship route. And I wanted to know whether like learning the language might increase my chances for like a scholarship.
All right, Francis, please go ahead, sir.
So what scholarship are you applying for? For a master's or a PhD or?
Oh, sorry, a master's. Yeah, a master's.
Okay, so with Germans, they are very a little bit let's say very practical people, and sometimes everything have to be based on the law and the requirement. So maybe if you don't have there are some schools you are not able to get admission, then it's better you apply to other universities. And also what you can do is to have some work experiences, like maybe 1 year or 2 years work experience, and you add it to your bachelor's. Then you can apply to some programs. In Germany, we have the EPO scholarship, which with that one is like when you get it, is full scholarship from DAD. There are other also scholarship bodies you can apply to, but it also depends on your GPA, your work experience, your motivation, and everything. So if you are interested, you can talk to the Fred Effect. He will guide you, and maybe if you need some help, I can also, my email was just posted. I can just give you the guidance. But for everything, you can first talk to the Fred Effect because this is his platform. Okay. Okay.
All right. So Z, I don't know if you can still go on. Francis can stay for some time, but I don't know Z and Hetty. It's been like 2 hours, so I don't know if you guys can still stay.
Yeah, I can do another 10 minutes.
Yeah, I can be here. I can be here for a while.
All right. So, sure. So let's talk to Paul. Paul, how are you doing, sir? Unmute and please go ahead with your question, please.
Fred, good evening. And
quite unfortunate. Paul is frozen. All right. So let's talk to Lawrence. Lawrence, please unmute and then you can ask your question, sir. Hi, Lawrence. Lawrence, can you please unmute and ask your question?
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, greetings to you all, and thank you so much for this opportunity. So I'm currently a diploma in nursing. That is my rank right now, diploma in nursing. So I'm a registered nurse in Ghana. Currently taking a top-up course into a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing. But then I also have a 2 years degree in teaching. I'm interested in medicine as well as nursing tuition, as like being a tutor or a lecturer. I don't know if I can get a chance to read any of these courses, either in the United States, the UK, or the Germany with a fully funded scholarship.
All right, so let's start with Miss Hetty. Z will come in and Francis will continue.
Looking at the certifications and then the qualifications you have, first of all, the medicine route in the US is different from that of Ghana, where over here you need to do like pre-med before you eventually get into the medicine program. So with your background, and I mean, I cannot tell like 100% the requirement and what exactly you need, but if you want to study medicine, this is like one thing you should have at the back of your mind. And for funding, I'm not 100% sure about funding for studying medicine in the US. So forgive me if I cannot really give much information on that. But for the nursing as well, I think with the certifications that you have and like the experience as well, you should have like an upper hand in applying and then getting through the application process to admission. So I don't know if there's anything Fred want to add for like the nursing or medicine.
Okay, so Z, you want to continue from there?
I really don't have much to say on this. I think what I would say would be to consider, because I know this is probably not directly related, but when it comes to certificates and some HND courses, when you have those, you could use them to apply for some master's programs in the UK as well. But when it comes to medicine, I really cannot, I don't have a lot of information in that area. Apologies. What I'd encourage you to do is to probably just look through some of the website, but I can't tell you that it's not impossible. You just have to look on some of the websites to see. You could also come in and study something else that's related to the health field, and then you can transition into medicine. So yeah, I can't really speak to it directly, but that's what I'd say to consider. And also just look widely. Hopefully you find something more helpful.
Okay, so Z, somebody's asking your email, but how do people get in touch with you?
I think the best way to reach me is to send me a DM on Instagram. If you send me an email, it might get lost somewhere because the email address that I would share I don't regularly check it all the time. So I think the best way to reach me is on social media because that comes pretty directly, and if I'm able to see it, I'll just respond to you. But email, I think I might see it, but it might take a while. As opposed to if you send me a DM, see Study Hub on Instagram, and I'll respond.
Great. Francis, you want to give your response to that question as well?
Okay, so with the US, you have to do a pre-med, and also there's some scholarship called the Knight Hensey scholarship, which mostly I think Harvard Medical School gives to you. But if you don't have a scholarship and you want to study medicine, I think in the best place you could do is maybe in Italy. They have some 6 year scholarship program, 6 years program, which the tuition is very, very low because the tuition is based on how much annual income your family makes. I have friends who studied in Italy and they were paying like about 300 euros per year. So, but you need to write an exams before you can do these programs. Apart from that, with USA, you need to write an MCAT, you need to do a pre-med courses in USA, and some schools will accept you, some schools will not accept you. For Germany, we don't have English medical programs. All of them is in German, but you also need to have at least B2 level of German, at least. Yeah.
Okay, so before we go to Cassie and then Augustine and Olatu has joined us. Thank you for joining in. So Lawrence, thank you for joining. Maybe we have to drop you and pick another person. So somebody's asking, can I get Miss Hetty's contact, please, first? So Miss Hetty is here. Miss Hetty, how do people get in touch with you? Okay, Hetty, you're muted. So
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, this is better.
Yeah, so I think people can reach me via email because that's where I tend to respond faster. So my email address, I don't know if Fred, I can go ahead and give it to you if you have it. So Hetty, HERTY Tinadu TINADU @gmail.com. You can send me an email and then I will be able to respond to whatever questions that you have from there.
Great. So let's talk to Ola, please unmute. Go ahead with your question, sir.
All right, thank you. The thing is, I applied for admission to US last year, and I was offered applied digital forensic and cybersecurity at the Illinois Institute of Technology. But because of the course didn't call with funding, so because of I applied for Empower Loan to supplement with what I have. But because of the rate of denial of data in Nigeria, I decided to defer the admission.
So I am having issues hearing him audibly. I don't know if anyone else can. Ola, we are finding we have Hetty. Izzy, can you hear him?
No.
Okay, so Ola, do us a favor and then kindly see if you can adjust your sound. That will be perfect for us. So let's talk to Augustine. Augustine, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, please go ahead with your question, sir. Augustine, please go ahead with your question, please.
Yeah, Augustine from Sierra Leone. I applied. Okay, I applied for spring for a graduate studies in computer science. Actually, I was. Yes, are you getting me?
All right, so Augustine is also have network issues. Let's see if Cassie can hear us. Cassie, how are you doing? Cassie, can you please hear me? Unmute and go ahead with your question, Cassie.
Good evening.
Go ahead with your question,
I'm Cassie from Ghana. A level 2
Okay, I think still we cannot hear. So let's try Georgina. Georgina, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead with your question. Okay.
Fred, there's a question I keep seeing on the feed. I think I saw quite a number. The person asked like multiple questions, like how can you convert for a B1, B2 to F1?
All right, so that's a separate conversation. It's difficult to explain here. So if you can get in touch privately, that would be great. So let's see, Georgina.
Okay, so my question. Okay, so please, my question goes to Francis. And I have gained admission to a private university in Germany, and I wanted to know if I could apply to DAAD for funding, if it's possible.
Okay. That really sponsors schools, but on the other aspect, because most German schools are tuition free, they would rather sponsor someone who's going to the public university than a private university, because with the private university you have to pay high tuition. So I don't know that one, I cannot tell, but you can try it. But I think it would be better to apply to a public university instead of a private university. Or
Okay.
if that would be difficult for you, then maybe USA is mostly better, because you can get teaching assistantship or graduate assistantship. So maybe Hetty could help you with that. But with Germany, private universities funding, I think it will be very difficult. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you,
Georgina. So we
Sorry,
are.
sorry, I'm trying to come in. Sorry to cut you. I just wanted to let you know that I have to go.
Okay, so we are concluding, and so we wanted to take final words. So Z, you can go, and then Francis comes in, Hetty, and then we can conclude for today.
Oh, sorry. I hope I didn't trigger this.
Oh no. We've been here for like 2 hours or so.
Okay. I must also say, remember I said I'd let you know if you really need if they still do visa interviews for the UK, and the answer is yes, they still do. It's not as detailed really. It's not as intense as other places. So I think people should just know their courses and know what they're going to study and why they want to study. My final words would be, I think my biggest advice to anyone who wants to study abroad, I think I have like two main ones. The first one is to believe that you can get it, that it's not, we are all just really trying to grow and develop ourselves. And I don't think anyone who gets a scholarship is better than anyone who doesn't. The difference is just timing, and it's also efforts put into it. So if you believe in yourself that you can get it, it's a very good step and a good way to start. The second thing is that I would encourage people to do a lot of research. I commend everyone for being on this live, because that's a good way to also find information. but do a lot of research, because I also find that, I think Eugene mentioned this earlier, sometimes the questions that you ask us, we also have to go on Google and search for the answers for you. We don't know everything about it. So I encourage people to do a lot of research. And also just keep trying, don't give up. I know people who have gotten scholarships on their fourth attempt. It's not like someone's told me. I know people who've done that. But also some people are also lucky to get it on their first try. So don't give up, keep trying, and ask for help if you can. And I wish you the best in the process. And for those who have questions, because I'm leaving now, but if you have a question that you wanted to ask me, you can send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll do my best to respond. And if you haven't seen my YouTube channel as well, Z Study Hub on YouTube, I have shared a lot of study abroad content and self-improvement content. So I encourage you to follow, subscribe, and check out the videos. I have a lot of videos on some universities you can apply to the UK without an application fee. I have a video on how I got my full scholarship without paying anything at all. And I have just really encouraging videos as well. A video to help you identify some of the mistakes that you're probably making in your scholarship search that you can improve on and do better to get a scholarship. Okay, so it was nice joining you all. Thanks for the opportunity, Fred, and all the best.
So yeah, Z, thank you for joining us. It's been amazing having you, and thank you for the time and all that. So we go to Miss Hetty, and then we take the final words from Francis as well.
Okay, thank you, Fred. So I think my final words for this whole study abroad process, especially for the US route, is patience, perseverance, and commitment. I say all these things because the process is hectic, it's time consuming, it involves like a lot of it involves money in terms of like the application fee and then the entire process. And so you need to be very committed to the course and be patient. And you need to research, and reach out to the schools, reach out to your program chair, any professor or somebody from your department. Like, reach out, have conversations, exchange emails, and like the main thing, research, and be very, very patient. Be very, very patient, because the time you might be expecting your admission is not the time it's going to come. And be patient also because of the whole visa interview process. And then back again to research, in a sense that you need to like know the exact documents you need for your visa interview, and ask questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions, and stay committed to the course, because it's time consuming. It's like emotional stress and physical stress is draining. But once you're committed to the course and you're willing to see it all the way through to the end, you'll be able to sail through. And just like what Z mentioned, anybody who has gained admission to the US with scholarship is not better than you. The fact that they've been able to do it makes you also know that you can also go through that process and also like make it to that point. So believe in yourself, put in the work today, and see the results tomorrow. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so we take final words from Francis as well. Francis.
Okay, thank you all for your amazing time, especially Fred. Thank you for having me on board. It was a great opportunity. So, what I can say to my other brothers and sisters is that, like my other colleague said, is you need time, patience, and sometimes money, but also you have to put in the hard work, and sometimes you should also do a little bit research, because sometimes somebody want to help you, and sometimes we want to put all the burden on the person, but you also try to do some research, write your motivation letter, then you can give it to somebody to look at it for you. The program you want to do, you have to research to see if there's scholarship available, if you qualify for this scholarship. And for Germany, there are a lot of scholarship available for you, but because the one major problem is the language barrier, it would be better if you start learning the language before you come in there. But in all the same, Germany offers a very, very good opportunity for you because it's tuition free, and it's a very, very good avenue for you to also travel around other European countries. So I wish you all the best, and if you have any other question, you can contact the Fred Effect, or I put my email there. You can ask me also. So thank you very much, Fred, for this opportunity. Bye.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us today, Francis. I really appreciate your time. So my name is Frederick. I create content on studying abroad and scholarship opportunities. I had opportunity to go through this process, and I didn't have that much money. I'm not from a wealthy family. Neither am I more intelligent than any other person. So we took advantage. In fact, I always say that there are some of our classmates who were better off than we were in school. They had better grades than us, but we were able to sail through and get here. So you can also do it. It is highly possible. You don't have to underrate yourself. If you have a low CGPA, if you have D7, E8, it is still possible. So what I do on my platform, which is currently the biggest study abroad content creation platform, is to share ideas and information on how you can do it. So if you check my YouTube channel, I am more of being very positive. There are a lot of things that people say about studying abroad. My brand is solely built on letting you know that it is possible. You can do it. We are not better off than you. Neither are we more intelligent than you. So be inspired to study abroad. Be inspired to take this step. There are several ways of traveling, but the study abroad route happens to be the easiest route. So next week, Sunday, I'll be live with my brother Kingsford Onyina. He's also doing amazing. He has the Kingsford Onyina YouTube channel, and then he's also on other platforms. We'll be responding to all your questions concerning studying abroad. So make a date with us. This Thursday, I have an opportunity to interact with a former visa officer who will be sharing all the insider information on how you can successfully get your visa approved. So if you are preparing for a visa interview, you look forward to getting any US visa interview, whether being a student, a business or a tourist visa or marriage visa, whatever category of visa, make a date with me and the former visa officer this Thursday, and then we'll be sharing all the ideas and information. And you also have the opportunity to ask questions as to how you could get your visa approved. My name has been Fred. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for subscribing. Do me a favor and share this platform. If you know anybody who wants to study abroad, tell them to search for the Fred Effect on all social media platforms and follow the information we share there. At the moment, my team is the only team that actually works on applications for free for individuals with high school and diploma qualification. So if you have a high school, you have a diploma, if you do know anybody who wants to study abroad but needs help with the application, all you need to do is to schedule a private 30-minute one-on-one conversation with my team. We are going to take your documents and work on the application for you for free. That is, if you are targeting a bachelor's degree. If you want master's degree, I've had opportunity to go through the process. So I've done 2 master's degrees, all on a scholarship. I've also assisted a lot of people, mentored thousands of people for like half a decade. So the experience is there to guide you through the process. Sign up for the Fred Effect Mentorship Program and we'll be happy to assist you. My brother, my sister watching me, it is possible. You can do it. Studying abroad is not rocket science. Be motivated. Take a step. If you don't have a passport, no problem. Take a step to get a passport. It might be difficult getting a recommendation letter. Bro, please take a step. It is highly possible and you don't have to be discouraged. It might be hard. You might have applied for some schools, been denied. It's part of life. You might have been, denied some admissions. You might have been denied some visa interviews and all that. It is part of it. You gain admission, there is no scholarship. There are ways and means you can do it. So all of us studying abroad are not more special than you. So please take a step and seek for help. Other people are doing it. It used to be that if you want to travel abroad or study abroad, you don't want to tell anybody stuff like that. But now everybody is doing it. People are traveling abroad day in, day out. So Eugene is in Germany, Hetty is in the US, Z is in the UK, and also my brother Francis also joined us. He's in the US now, but he's also studying in Germany. That means that it is highly possible that you can do it. All you need to do is to take a step. My name is Fred. This has been the Fred Effect. Kindly know that it is highly possible. You have to be relaxed. Everything will be fine. I'll see you in another video.